The UK has committed to giving over anti-tank missiles, to training some Ukrainian troops. What more is the UK doing?
Well, I mean, it may provide more in the way of armaments for Ukraine. I think that's probably as far as it goes in terms of maybe some more trainers to help the Ukrainian forces to use those weapons. The same is happening really with the United States. They've provided quite a few missiles, other armaments that have been sent in recent days across to Ukraine. This issue of 8,500 troops being readied, there's a slight sort of confusion there because they're never going to be deployed against Russia. They may be called in if there's issues in that region. You know, Poland, of course, borders Ukraine as well. If there's instability that spills over, if we do end up in conflict. But I don't think there's any way that I could ever see the US troops being used against the Russians in some kind of direct conflict like that.
Boris Johnson last night after that call warned of a lightning war whereby Russia swoops into the capital of Ukraine and just sort of sweeps out the whole country before the West can really do anything. Is it your analysis that the West doesn't want to and will in no circumstances deploy troops?
I can't see any way imaginable that they would ever deploy troops directly against Russia. I mean, they've already spoken after this meeting with the US president last night, which involved Boris Johnson, the leaders of Germany, France, Italy, Poland, of course, the EU and NATO as well, about lightning sanctions, very heavy sanctions against Russia. That's the way they want to go. They don't want to go militarily.
Do sanctions work against Russia? Of course, we saw in 2014 when sanctions were deployed over the annexation of Crimea, Putin's approval rating went up despite the Russian economy tanking. His popularity and that sense of national solidarity, Russia against the world, increased his standing.
It does, and they are better protected in Russia than they were just a few years ago to sanctions. They have processes in place to be able to deal with issues around pensions and things like that. So, you know, they're better prepared for this if that comes to that. I think the issue is, do we really see the Russian president sending his troops into Ukraine in any meaningful way? I'm not sure really we do. And I'm slightly confused as to why we have this rhetoric amongst, in particular, the UK and the US that seems to be absolute in terms of, just a few days away now and they're going to move these troops in. You're not hearing that really from other European leaders. A cabinet minister was on the BBC yesterday in Ukraine, a cabinet minister speaking about their concern at the language that is coming out of, in particular, the US, the UK and NATO on this particular issue. And also the fact that they're taking some of their embassy personnel away from the country. They want stability. They want the issue to be talked down in some way. And, the hope is that at the end of the day, what Putin is trying to achieve is, some kind of room for negotiation. What his end goal will be, what he will settle for, well, only he knows that at the end of the day. But is he actually going to commit a full-scale war?
A huge risk, a huge bluff, potentially,
on the path of
Vladimir Putin.